Good evening, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Pilot Review Show. I am Captain Blade J52, and I am joined this week by the merry band of misfit and somewhat disturbing cohorts. We have, directly to the right of my character, everyone's favorite RP hologram, Artie.
Hello.
Then we have, on the table, sitting down, our crazy resident Riemann, Neela Deton.
Paint me like one of your French girls.
Oh, that's a disturbing thing I never wanted to hear.
Well...
And then, even more disturbing than Neela, we have everyone's resident dancing gorn, TeacherKirby.
Hello, folks. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse.
Yep. Like I said earlier before the show started, welcome to the Pilot Review Show After Dark Jackass Edition. A subsidiary of Cork Enterprises. But in seriousness, folks, we've got some pretty interesting stuff to get through this week, article-wise and everything, so let's go ahead and dive into all this.
Yes.
Everyone's favorite Kobayashi Maru weekend event has returned this week. From September the 28th until October the 2nd at 10 a.m., we will be able to queue up for the Kobayashi Maru event. You'll get your choice of marks from the event. Depending on how far you go, you'll get a greater reward. You can earn weekend event vouchers towards the Reiterative Structural Capacitor. This is the new console that they brought out for this. There's a timed version and an untimed version of the event. So if you only want to go as far as you can in the 15 minutes, or you want to see how far you can get, you can definitely do that. And, yeah. Comments, thoughts on our event?
I'm excited.
I was going to say you have to get to level 5 to get your voucher reward thingy to spend in what we'll talk about in the next article.
So we have to do another 5 and dive? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. You can decide that if you're making private queues. Yes. I don't recommend doing it purposely in a pug. But, you know, yeah, you can decide if you're going to do that, if you're going to make a private queue on your own with some friends.
Really, there's no, to be honest, there's really no point in doing a 5 and dine for Kobayashi Maru. Since it's space, you're more likely to die faster in space than the sound pack.
He is right.
Interesting take. Yeah.
But
I think it's more because it's a guard thing. You're trying to guard the ship, and that's harder and harder to do as it goes up in the difficulty.
Yeah, you're trying to make sure something else survives instead of yourself, so that, that's where the difficulty is.
definitely don't want a healer in there if you plan to go for a while. But, anyways, we will have this little short blog in the notes for you guys if you want to check that out. But speaking of other interesting things, we have a weekend event store that has been released.
Yeah, so this is a kind of a change on the event store, or the way they're doing the weekend event. So it works kind of like the ship store, the event ship store, with a bit of a little twist. Right now, everything that has been available in current or in past events is available currently. You just have to gather up enough weekend event vouchers to buy the items. Once you have bought an item on one character, it is available to all characters on your account without having to use any more weekend event vouchers. Okay, so it's account unlocked. So there you go. So that's the way in which it works, like the ship event store. Once you unlock it on one character, it unlocks for all characters. If you find this is not happening for you, because it is a new thing, if you find that it's not unlocking for other characters after you buy it on one, please report this because it is a bug. Okay? Anything else you can think of, guys?
Actually,
This makes me happy.
yes, down at the
It
bottom.
does. Definitely. What was that?
Actually, one thing in the bottom of the blog I would mention. Now, one of the things that some people may have noticed is that if you're like me, you do get behind on projects from time to time with as many characters as you have, and you may have logged in to notice that you had a completed project in the reputation area, or the events reputation area. Any of the old projects you may have had, such as maybe the original Arena of Sompek, Lightning module, as long as you had at least one voucher donated to it, they were kind enough to let you auto-complete the project and have that for your entire account. So that is a very big plus in that case.
Yes. Yes, thank you for mentioning that. And if you're not sure where you can find this reputation store, open up your Reputations tab, click on Events Reputation, and then click on the store under that, and you will then find your weekend event store. It should be the bottom tab under summer and winter events. Right, Chris?
Yep.
Alrighty.
That's,
Anything else, guys?
Nope. I'm just going to continue mentioning that I really like this. This really is going to help me
do.
get
I like
everything.
it as well.
indeed.
Yeah, I like it as well.
As soon as it said account unlocked, I'm just like, I only have to grind on one character now. Yay!
Yay! I know.
But anyways, we will have this in the notes for you guys so you can check out the blog. Like I said, there's not really a lot to it, but in case you wanted to have it for reference. But moving right along, we have our PC patch notes for the 28th.
Okay, we got not too much here, so I'll just go ahead and just start spitballing what we got here. Alright, in the general section, in celebration of the 30th anniversary, we're adding some special items for the players. A Federation Type 7 shuttle, which can be claimed in the promotion tab of the C-Store. The Scant uniform seen in TNG, which can also be claimed in the promotion tab of the C-Store. There are two different buttons, you'll find them. You could visit Wharf for some free items in the holodeck of Starfleet Academy or in the Klingon Academy. The previous release of the TNG 25th anniversary event has returned in the celebration of the 30th anniversary. Players who previously claimed these rewards will not have new rewards to claim. Romulan players cannot claim these rewards. Oh.
I know, right?
I'm sure they'll figure something out
Romulans
for them.
some love. Yes.
Alright, moving on to that. New weekend event store. For participating in the Kobayashi Maru weekend event or any future weekend event, players will receive one weekend event voucher per day. To access the store, either double-click on the voucher from the inventory or view the store in the weekend events tab in the event store from the of the reputation system. What we've already explained where to go to.
Yes.
The current and previous weekend event rewards will be available for purchase. By popular demand, any purchase for a weekend event store is account unlocked and can be reclaimed by any character on an account. Yay! And you can visit the blog there if you haven't seen it via previous tab. Alright. The Galaxy Bridge interior. They've resolved an issue that caused some Federation ships to not have access to this interior. There is now an image of this interior in the ship Taylor, and the name of the interior of the interior in the ship Taylor has been changed to Galaxy 2368 Galaxy. Alright, and they've added some weekend events to October. You can find that on the calendar. The next section, Kobayashi Maru, resolved an issue that caused the VFX for nanite infection to remain on players even after the affixed round for nanite infection ended. Ooh, nasty. Added some additional audio in the mini contact in the queue. Mini contacts in the queue, my bad. And the difficulty curve has been adjusted to be more gradual for wave 1 through 10. That's actually really good there. I've always had some trouble on wave 3. Then again, it may be due to bad ships, whatever. And their only known issues there are still some Federation ships that cannot apply the new galaxy interior, and some male species have invisible legs when scans are applied. Ooh. They had that same problem with when they first introduced the Ryzen shorts, I believe, a couple summers back. Whatever. I'm sure they'll figure out the problem. Anything from you guys?
That about covers it.
Yeah,
Yep.
that does about cover it. I am glad they're listening to the popular demand stuff. So that's why they're letting the weekend store be account unlocks. What was I? Oh, the thing for Wharf. Wharf is kind of difficult to find on the KDF side. So you do have to go around and kind of search for that holodeck. It's not apparent. It is not the wharf that's in First City Kronos that you go to for the mission. So, just to be clear, the holodeck is near the bank and exchange consoles in the academy. So it's in the far east side of the map, and you'll find it that way. Hopefully the door will open near you fairly quickly if you get over there and look around. But yeah, so pay attention to that. And those are my comments.
Very nice, very nice. Because I had some issues there, so that's actually good pointing out where it is.
Yes.
Anyways, we will have our patch notes and our show notes at the end of the show, so you can check them out.
Channel.
And the Wild Boss Man has appeared.
I
Certainly have.
We have a boss man sighting, folks. It is a boss man sighting.
Official, I'm here.
Yep.
Yay. Hello, boss man.
Hello, how's it going, everyone?
Doing very
It's
well.
going good.
Yep. We just covered our patch notes, and we're about to move on to our featured episode announcement.
Ooh, came just in time.
That we did. But speaking of folks, we have a new featured episode announcement, The Melting Pot.
Yes, we do. Basically, it's a small little blurb about the new feature episode that will be coming up with the new season. Called Melting Pot, obviously. It basically will be paying a visit to the Lucari Centauri colony of Draenor. It's hidden behind a space anomaly that warps sensors. Captains with level 10 and up, and ramen captains must have chosen a faction to be able to play the mission once it does become live. Captain Camarque and Captain LaForge, and you will explore what the Draenor colony holds. Find out if the colonists can make it work. Anything on your guys' end?
I am looking forward to another episode with Jordy.
Yeah, it's good. To be honest, any episode of Camarque.
I just want to know where they're going with this, because we went from finding some energy being and in the Nexus to now having we're all hanging out on a moon colony or a planet colony somewhere with two species that don't really like each other. I wonder where we're going with this. It's like drawing us closer to something else that we haven't really noticed before, or something that's been mentioned and we're just not realizing as a detail, an overlooked part or something.
Well, that's one thing that they're trying to do lately is trying to do stuff like that. That is a not oft mentioned thing, and then building up for it. I mean, you got to remember, in a couple months we got the half season that's going to be coming up here soon. So take that into account.
3 months, yeah. So we're just about to start the new season, so in about 3 months we're going to have the half. After that, so yeah.
Yep. So that's what I guarantee you that's what they're going to be building up for.
Yeah, true. But, yeah, I mean, leave it to the RP guy to go straight for the story, right?
Yeah, I don't care what items you get from it. They may look cool as long as it's like something to add to a costume, maybe a cool gun, maybe a ship feature or something like that. Yeah, give that to me.
Need more outfits.
Need more outfits, exactly.
I know there is.
Our outfit slot max, so I need more. I need the outfit slot to max to go up.
I have 2 characters that have every costume unlocked known to this game. I need more costumes.
Oh god, the space Barbie bug is spreading.
Oh,
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
What are you talking about spreading? Who's the spreading to?
Yeah, it started from me. Where do you think?
I was
Please.
spoiled long
You should
before I
see-
joined you all.
Please.
you should see Gornalicious since they put mini skirts in the game.
No, just no.
It's all kinds of awful.
It's bad enough when I have to actually pan the camera into the game to see that. But
But it's like the best dance to do it with.
oh god, just no.
What, the fan dance?
The best dance right now. It's the only dance. Nothing else.
So the best thing is a remit hologram.
Now we've gotten off track, and
that wants to
welcome to
be
Foundry
Yes, we
Mission.
have. Okay.
Yep.
Like the
Foundry
French
Mission
girl.
Show, where we go off track here. Yes.
Yep. Welcome to Pilot Review Show After Dark, a subsidiary of Quark Enterprises.
Hey Scott, remember? Squirrel.
Wait, what?
Okay. Back on
Yep.
topic. So, your thoughts, Neela and Darkblade? About the new episode?
I want to know what was so special about those crystals that the Zenkethy kept essentially nuking planets in order to destroy. Because we've not seen anything about that.
That almost seemed like an aborted storyline. I agree with you. And I think, even though it seems like an aborted storyline, I think it's all gonna mesh together fairly soon.
I'm just about wondering if the energy guy that we found before couldn't be part of those crystals or have something to do with that. Again, speculation on my part, but something I'm wondering.
Well, I think we've got a clue that it's going to come back to the Zenkethy because we have the Zenkethy lockbox coming out.
That is true.
So I don't know.
But any final thoughts from you, Sir Neela?
Me personally, I hope we get to see more cooperation between the Lucari and Pentari. Yeah, I want to see what about the crystals and stuff, but I want to go into more detail with that, the cooperation between them. Yeah, the other parts will be nice, but to me this will be a lot better, in my opinion.
Can see that. But we will have our little blog in the show notes at the end of the show for those people that want to check it out. Definitely going to be interesting to see how everything ties together.
Definitely.
But moving right along, we have some 30th anniversary giveaways for TNG with a scant and a shuttle. We did touch base on this a little bit earlier.
With the patch notes, yes.
Yep. And one of the other big things I do see in the blog, it says players will receive the kilts on Tuesday to celebrate the Miracle Worker specialization. So that is something new coming along. But it does give a little bit of stats on our Type 7 shuttle in the blog. It's a hull modifier of 0.55, shield modifier of 0.5, 2 weapon slots, 1 device slot, a turn rate of 22, impulse modifier of 0.22, 100 inertia, 1 tactical console, 2 engineering, no science, and it has a Ensign Universal seat and an Ensign Engineering seat. So this is another shuttle that has a second bridge officer seat along with the Delta Flyer.
It's basically the engineer Delta Flyer.
Yay.
You know, I had never noticed that, actually.
Yeah, I've done a few test runs here and there with the new shuttle. You can make it into a tiny little tank, considering for small craft. So.
Well, it gets the thumbs up from our favorite RP hologram, so that's very good to know.
Not to mention it looks very schmancy. I like it.
And for free, you can't really complain, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, any other comments on our shuttle outfits, anybody?
Well, for those of you that don't remember, they actually did show on at least one episode a male in this scant uniform, which is why both males and females are getting it. So, if you're looking for that early TNG uniform style, there you go.
Yeah. Also, I don't mean what I'm about to say as anything bad, but the amount of detail they put into the legs. I mean, seriously, that's really good. Because, I mean, you saw a little bit of, from what you saw when they did the shorts, and then the real short shorts, the amount of male detail they've done to the male legs. It's great. I mean, any artist just looks at it and goes, oh my goodness, I wish I could draw like this.
And welcome to Pilot Review
There's
Show
our
After Dark.
RP hologram.
Wait, what? Sorry, I was distracted there by the art.
That's our excuse now, huh?
Yeah. There you go.
Yes.
But
Now, the question is, which set of legs were you distracted by? Anyway.
oh
Moving on.
my!
Let us spice it.
Yes, Pilot Review After Dark.
But
Go
moving along, we have our Zen Kathy lockbox.
Yes, lockbox. Let's move on.
Lockbox, let's...
Squirrel.
There it is. There it is.
Big shiny.
Lord have mercy.
You know, this is one actually. A new lockbox was something that some people started pointing out, noticing as they were bringing back the Infinity boxes. Of course, when the Infinity boxes come out, there's a new lockbox coming. Let's be honest here.
Yes.
That's their cycle. It's pretty much when the current box starts to get a little bit less opened that you start.
It's,
You can start planning on a new one coming out. Pretty much.
well, it's basically, it follows the season and half season cycle.
Yeah, that too.
It does.
But
it follows
it-
the
it-
season and half season cycle.
But what I'm saying is typically when a new one is especially going to come out soon is you can watch the amount of people winning the ships. It dies near the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that's because less people
But-
are opening them.
Yeah. But we have we get a new season every 6 months, a new half season every 3 months. So you can guarantee that at the end of 3 months you're gonna get a new lockbox.
But we do have some interesting stuff coming down the pipeline this go, including a Lucari Nakam. Is that it? I guess that's how you say that. Nakam. That's what I'm going to say anyways. Nakam Scout ship. This is the T5 ship that they're throwing in there, which I highly suspect will be able to be taken to T5U. And from everything we're seeing, based off of the stats, which I believe they included them a little further down, if I'm not mistaken. Or did they? Okay, they did not. But from everything we're seeing, this is going to be a science raider from the look of things. We also have a first for lockboxes is a vanity-only Zenkethi shield. So for our space Barbies out there, we're starting to see some vanity items come into the game, it would appear. Also,
Cough, Neela, cough.
Yes.
It's not me, it's
So,
but yeah, so
yeah.
vanity items for our space Barbies. Oh, go ahead, Kirby.
Yes. So we should point out vanity only means that it will not be able to help you in battle. It will not protect your ship in any way, shape, or form. It is only for looks.
Yep. But some of the other goodies coming along are a full Zenkethi ground set, a Tetrion torpedo Tetrion energy torpedo in the low-buy store for the Zenkethi space set. We're also getting the Zenkethi Shukden Escort T6, as well as the peripheral refraction array console. And I'm kind of summarizing a little bit because of how much stuff they're actually bringing along. And we're getting the Zenkethi Raj Bej battle cruiser, probably butchered the name, in the low-buy store. We'll have the Momentum Manipulator console. And let's see, what else do we have? We have some personal traits that we can get. 3 for the ground, 3 for space. We have the Indirect Shielding, Permeating Radiation, and Tumultuous, however you say that. Oblique Shielding in space, Galvanized Munitions, and Menacing. As well as several kit modules and some duty officer assignments. Kind of see Zenkethi stuff for the ground armor, which actually looks pretty nice, I think. But yeah, we're definitely going to have this in the show notes, because it would take quite a while for us to go through all of this. But I highly encourage everybody to check it out so you can kind of get some ideas as to what's coming down the pipeline. But any other thoughts from you guys?
costume armor.
Not so much armor for me, but I'd like to see some of the stats for some of these. It's well, some of it has a few stats, but it does look kind of interesting. But I think I'm going to wait a little while to hold out my opinion until I have a chance to play with some of it.
I have to agree. As the RPer of this, it's a lot of cool stuff here. It's a very mixed bunch for a lot of stuff. I'm really excited for that Science Raider, because there's not been like a much need for things that need Raider flanking, but it's very much of a plus. Because, you know, Federation characters, they don't really get those kind of Raiders and all that. It's more of a Klingon and Romulan thing, but hey, as soon as you get something that has Raider flanking, let's do it.
Heck yeah. But anyways, we will have this in the notes for you guys and everything. That's pretty much all we have for articles this particular show. There wasn't really a lot to them this go around. But moving along to our budget build of the evening, we have an Arbiter 1-key budget. This is a variation of the bare bones budget that we do. The 1-key budgets assume that somehow you've gotten hold of a lockbox key and sold it for the current going rate, which at the time of the taping of this particular show and this particular build was made, the going rate for a key was 4.7 million. So it gives us a nice little chunk of VC to play with. Everything else is free or as dirt cheap as absolutely possible. Now it should be mentioned that this is the C-Store version of the Arbiter, so you'll only have the one science console to work with. As far as the forward weapons go, we have 5 DMG ×2 Crit D1 dual beam banks from the Ragnarok mission. This was a place that we could pick up a lot of cheap weapons, some of them with pretty great mod combos. This means we're going to be pointing our ship forward, flying it more like an escort, which we can do with the Arbiter. It is one of those ships that can be flown more in the cruiser style or more in the escort style. For the shields, the engines, deflector, and warp core, we're using our Soul Defense set from the Midnight Mission. The reason we like to use the Soul Defense set for defensive value is because of the 2-set bonus and the 3-set bonus. The 2-set bonus essentially gives the equivalent of a free neutronium armor, so just by having 2 of the items equipped on the ship, you're going to get the equivalent of having an armor console on the ship without actually having to use the slot. Then you have the big AoE heal as the 3-set bonus as well, that affects yourself and allies that are close enough to you. Then the Soul Defense set does not come with a warp core, so we had to source one out, and in this case we went with our Temporal Phase Overcharged core. This is a favorite of ours on the budget end because of how versatile the core is and because of what it does. If you were here for the Temporal Recruitment event, then, or the Delta Recruitment event I should say, then you're familiar with a little device known as the Temporal Negotiator, which basically cut Bridge Officer cooldowns in half for the duration of the device. This essentially does the same thing in the form of a warp core capacitor, so a very potent thing to have, especially on the budget end. For our aft weapons in the back, we have the Martok Disruptor Omni. This came about as a result of the Brushfire mission. Then we also have a standard Disruptor Omni that we purchased from the exchange, or crafted. In this case, we assume a purchase. And then we also have our Nausicaan Disruptor Energy Torpedo in the back, just as something to mix it up a little bit. Then we assume the torpedo is on the back as a nice little parting shot. As far as devices go, there really is no set-in-stone devices you have to have. One that we do like to recommend, however, is the Subspace Field Modulator that you can pick up from the Skirmish mission. That mission device will provide a nice little defensive buff temporarily, resistance buff. The only downside is it does debuff you for a minus 400 proton damage resist while it is active. Now, normally we hadn't really talked a lot about that, because not very many enemies did use protonic damage, but we have seen a few extra sources of it lately, so it is something we've started to mention. For your console setup, you have 5 engineering, 1 science, and 4 tactical. For our engineering setup, we have our Trillium D plating, which provides some damage resistance rating as well as shield capacity, which is basically a neutronium armor and a field generator slammed into one console. Then we have the ablative hazard shielding that actually comes with the ship and is a very potent defensive console. I know it's saved my rear end a few times, and I would put it up there with the Kobali console, actually, the Regenerative Integrity Field, in terms of defensive value that it can give. We have our Assimilated Module, which gives us some critical chance and critical severity. We have our 0-point console that gives us some free critical chance. Then we have our House Martok console, which will give us the 2-set bonus for our Martok items, which is 2.5% crit chance and a bit of accuracy rating. So, not too terrible of a set bonus, but not the most potent that we've had either. The Martok console essentially gives a bit of extra shield capacity and a bit of extra turn rate, so a field generator and an RCS console in one thing. We then have our Nausicaan Siphon Capacitor as our Science console. This gives a bit of disruptor damage as well as some other nice buffs. This also gives us access to the 2-set bonus for the Nausicaan set. Everything. So, let's see if the game is actually going to cooperate. If I can, there it is. Now, the 2-set bonus for this was the Disruptor Net. This was the one that did damage over time on the target whenever it managed to proc. So, very nice little thing to have for disruptors. Then our tactical consoles come from the Echoes of Light mission. These are standard disruptor tactical consoles for boosting damage. As far as our skills go, pretty standard for what you've seen. We've got our points into improved hull capacity and shield capacity, 2 in each of those, 1 in shield and hull restoration each. Maxed out our advanced energy training. We've picked up improved DPS flow, so 2 points into that, 1 point into impulse expertise. We did pick up the improved control and drain expertise. Picked up the advanced targeting expertise and defensive maneuvering, so 3 points into each of those. We maxed out our hull plating. We also put 2 points into the improved shield hardness. We've also maxed out our weapon amplification and specializations, because that's pretty hefty bonuses under Season 13. We have a point into defensive and offensive subsystem tuning each. We've maxed out our exotic particle gens and our long-range targeting sensors to reduce weapon drop-off. Since this is a disruptor build, we're going with the advanced hull penetration to bypass more of the armoring on the ship.
You have been converted, my child.
Well, in this case, it fits the build. Normally, I prefer the shield penetration, but there really is no right or wrong answer here. But since we're going with disruptors and we're bypassing armor anyway, you might as well cheese it for all you can get. Then, for our last 2 points, we have 1 in Warp Core Potential and Warp Core Efficiency in this case. For specializations, we went with Intel Primary and Pilot as Secondary, so flip those around from the usual role that we typically put them in. Then, for our, if I could remember how to work this thing, for our personal space traits and everything, we have the Nanite Repair Matrix. This is a nice little heal when you drop below 50% hull. It can occur once every 90 seconds. That is from the Midnight Mission. Then we have the Beam Barrage from the Beam R&D Crafting School. Now, we always like to assume that you're leveling at least one of the crafting schools up as you're bringing the character up. In this case, we assume that you chose Beams, since that's going to be your primary damage source. Then we have Beam Training for more free damage. Accurate to help offset some of the fall penalty as of Season 13. Elusive for free defensive value. Fleet Coordinator for free damage. Then we also have the Grace Under Fire trait. This is the engineering specific trait. If you're not an engineer, then just swap in your own career specific trait. We slotted Grace Under Fire mainly because that's what the builder typically defaults to. Then we had Operative for free critical chance and severity. And finally, the Point Blank Shot, which increases damage based on how close you are to the target to a certain maximum. For our starship traits, we have the Emergency Weapon Cycle, which actually comes with the ship. Now, this is a very potent trait. This is pretty much a staple in most builds out there today that are seeking to do DPS, and even in a lot of tank builds as well, because it allows your weapons to fire a lot faster than they otherwise normally would.
Yes, it also reduces the energy cost of firing those weapons, and it does all this while, for the duration of the emergency power to weapons skill, and it is possible by having only 2 copies of that skill to have it active all the time. So very, very powerful trait, and that's why it's so popular in the quote-unquote DPS club. You know.
Then for our next traits, we had the best defense, which your attack patterns grant a whole healing buff along with normal effects. We have improved predictive algorithms from Intel, which gives us some temporary accuracy rating for a short time. This helps to offset that fall penalty even further. And then finally we have Pedal to the Metal from the Pilot Specialization, which gives a damage increase as long as we're at full throttle. For our Space Reputation traits, we have Advanced Targeting Systems for free severity, Chronocapacitor for Bridge Officer recharge time, Precision for free critical hit chance, then our Aux Power Offensive for some extra damage based on our Aux Power. For our active reputations, we have Anti-Time Entanglement Singularity for a nice little AoE damage. We have the Biomolecular Shield Generator for an AoE defensive power that affects yourself and your team. Deploy Sensor Interference Platform for a nice little "oh crap, I'm about to die" button. This will taunt all nearby enemy ships toward itself. Then we have the Quantum Singularity Manipulation. This gives a plus 100 to all science stats for the duration and a temporary cloaking effect. Now the combination we always like to use is to pop our Quantum Singularity Manipulation first, follow up with any other exotic powers that we have, and throw that Anti-Time Entanglement Singularity after that for even more damage. Then, finally for our Bridge Officer seating, on the Arbiter you have a Lieutenant Commander Universal, Instant Tactical, Lieutenant Commander Tactical / Intel, a Commander Engineering seat, and a Lieutenant Science seat. Now for this particular build, I decided to do a Lieutenant Commander Universal Tactical in this case. For this seat we have a Torpedo Spread 1 and High Yield to take advantage of the torpedo. We have a Fire at Will 3. For the Ensign Tactical, we used a Chemosite 1 as one of our money items. Then for our Lieutenant Commander Tactical Intel, we have a TAC Team 1, purges certain debuffs and automatically redistributes our shields. Our Attack Pattern Beta to debuff the enemy. And then finally, our Override Subsystem Safeties 3 that we can cheese for extra power. For Commander Engineering, we have the Engineering team that gives us some hull back whenever we need it as a hull heal, as well as purchase certain debuffs. Reverse Shield Polarity to recharge our shields in a pinch. Emergency Power to Weapons 3 for some extra energy damage and weapon power. Then we have our Warp Bubble 3 for a nice little defensive to debuff the enemy. There is no hard cap that I've observed yet. As long as the enemy is within 4 kilometers, they will be hit by this, and their damage will essentially be cut in half. Now, if you don't need the Warp Bubble, you could swap something more offense-oriented in here. Or if you don't like Warp Bubble, you could swap something in, such as maybe an Aux Structural. So you do have options with this particular ability. Finally, for Lieutenant Science... Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say on the engineering, I probably would go for, and I go for more DPS though than Darkblade's build. I would have put Reverse Shield Polarity 3, Emergency Power to Weapons 3, Emergency Power to Weapons 2, so that you can have it up and be taking full advantage of that Emergency Weapon Cycle trait. And then Engineering Team 1. But again, that's not going to be as tanky as what Darkblade is giving you here, but it will probably do a little bit more damage.
Indeed. Yeah, like we're saying, that's one reason we throw these things out there. That's one reason why we do tend to banter a bit when we do the budget build, is we want people to see that you do have options. You can copy what we have point for point and tit for tat, but what we're giving for these builds typically is more of a template and everything. Something to give you ideas and everything.
A starting point.
Yes.
As it were.
But finally, for our Lieutenant Science seat, we have our Science Team 1. This gives us a bit of shield healing back, as well as purges certain debuffs, such as the pesky subnucleonic effect that a lot of enemies like to use.
Oh, yeah.
She's been hit by a few of those effects. Can't say I haven't.
Oh,
either.
yes.
It's
yep.
definitely why I keep
annoying.
Science Team.
They're annoying, and that's why I put Science Team and Hazard Emitters on every build.
Yep. And speaking of Hazard Emitters, that is our final ability on the seat, which gives us a bit of healing over time, as well as a temporary damage resistance buff. This purges certain things like the plasma fires from the Borg torpedoes, and a few other things.
Yep, a lot of your damage over time, debuffs on you are purged by hazard emitters. So, handy trait to have, and Science Team goes with it. So that pair, you may look at it as they're very powerful to have together, which is why you'll see it on 99% of the builds.
Yep. But anyways, that's what we've got for that stuff. As far as overall cost and build time, we came out to about 3.25 million out of our 4.7 million budget, so we did spend a nice little chunk of it. We still have a little bit left. As far as total dilithium invested, we only had 30,000 dilithium total, so that's about 4 days of dilithium refinement, assuming you're only running the one character, and 4 days build time. So this is actually a bit quicker and easier to build than the standard 6 days that we usually see. But hopefully everybody's kind of able to see what we're going for here, what we wanted to do. I wanted to give you guys something that's more towards the middle of the spectrum, has plenty of survival, but is able to give you some good knockdown power as well. But point being, you do have options with the ship and everything. If you've got budget builds you'd like to see us do, feel free to let us know and everything. But moving along to the bugs corner, I don't really have anything specific per se this week, but more so a request for everybody out there, and that's involving some of the stuff on Tribble, specifically the Miracle Worker powers and everything. You know, please kind of hop on to Tribble, let them know what you guys think. I have been noticing a few issues. I want to see if you guys are experiencing the same things I am, of a couple of the powers not working like they should, such as the narrow sensor band's power. So this week's Bug Corner is more of a, I guess, a bit of a request for help on that front, I could say.
Go on Tribble, go forth our underlings.
Yes,
and
hit the
test,
Tribble.
Yep.
And give
Hit
Chris
the Tribble with a bat lift.
and give Darkblade lots and lots of paperwork.
But in seriousness, like I said, yeah, definitely get on Tribble, especially with as much as coming down the road. You're going to want to prepare for everything in the meantime, kind of get acquainted with some of the new stuff, especially the new fleet holding coming. But anyways, that's what we've got for the Bugs Corner this week. Moving along to Teacher's Corner, what have you got for us this week?
The Riemann set. So last week I did the Romulan set. So you can't leave it at that, because you know there's the Riemann set out there. And so I did the Riemann set. I actually recorded both the Romulan set and the Riemann set on the same day, but separated them. Anyway, production notes aside, Yeah, so you can't do one without the other. And already there have been things that viewers came up with. They left in questions and comments that I was like, dang it, I didn't think of that dang thing. And I had to go and play Coliseum to find out an answer to a question somebody posted already. So, yeah. But, yeah, so somebody wanted to know if, because there used to be the old Riemann set that you could get from playing episodes, right? Well, they took out everything of that except for the shield. Okay? So there's the Riemann shield that still has in the tooltip that it's part of a set. Right?
Okay.
So you see where I'm going with this?
It works, doesn't it?
It does not.
Aw, you got me going there.
But, but the question was, so the first question that came up was, so how do I complete that set, the one from the mission reward? So I had to tell them that they took it out. So then the next question that came up was, well, can you mix them? So that's why I had to run Coliseum, because I didn't have that shield. So I had to run Coliseum and find out. And the answer is unfortunately no. You cannot mix them. Yeah.
Bad.
So, but great question. But unfortunately no. Which, yeah, we were all, I'm sure we were all sad to see. But, yeah. So see, you guys keep me working by asking all these questions. Anyway, nah. Any other comments?
No.
You guys?
I've always wondered about that, that Riemann shield that you got from the mission, because I was slightly late about getting the engine and and all that. It was just,
Yeah.
I was like, where did it go? I can't find anything else. So that at least explained that. But for the actual Riemann set from the Reputation, yeah, this has been very helpful for me. I've had the whole set and just never used it because I really didn't find a real use for it because I didn't run build that really connected with it. But it now opens up that option. I can now, with ease figure out how to do it now.
And the stats, the reason you can't do one of these sets without, the Riemann set without the Romulan set, and the Romulan set without the Riemann set, is because their stats are very, very close to each other. So, and I say in the video, if you're watching the Riemann set video, go watch the Romulan set video. If you're watching the Romulan set video, go watch the Riemann set video. Because you may find that the way in which they differ, that you really want one set over the other, and it's good to be informed so you can know which one you really want before you go and spend the resources to create it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Riemann shield, best Space Barbie shield, just saying.
Yes, but if you're going for just the shield, because the rep shield will do the same Space Barbie thing as well, but if you're going for just the shield for Space Barbie, then get it through the mission reward. Because the mission reward shield does the same Space Barbie as the rep shield.
And it's
So
far
don't
cheaper.
spend your resources.
Yes.
Yes, don't spend your resources if you're just going for Space Barbie. But if you want the set bonuses, and you're going for the whole set or for part of the set, you want the 2-piece set bonus, for example, then, and you want the shield for the Space Barbie thing and for the bonus, then you're going to have to do the You're going to have to get it out of the reputation. So yeah. So that is Teacher's Corner this week.
We will have that up in the notes for you guys if you've ever been curious about the Riemann set, how you get it, or some of the stuff that it does. But be sure to check that out. Coming up on our final segment of the evening, and then a special announcement from Boss Man after that, we have the RP Corner with Artie. What have you got for us this week, dude?
Well, I have another special little thing. This time I'm doing a Foundry Spotlight. This is from a long time, slightly updated here and there, Foundry missions, a series of missions, known as Mirror Wars. Mirror Wars 1 is what it's called, by P. Sutherland. I've played these when they were first introduced into the game many years back when we were still fighting, the Mirror Universe Captain Obrien and all that. That's where that connected there. Literally, the Mirror Wars 1 story is you're part of the task group under Obrien from that original story arc, and you're now figuring out what to do after O'Brien's downfall from the missions. You're obviously playing your Mirror Counterpart, Admiral, Captain, whatever, however you want to play it, and you have to find your way back to the Mirror Universe. It's not as simple as you would think as just opening a portal with your deflector dishes, it seems. From the different... its setting is more or less space mostly, but there are a lot of ground combat areas, a lot of story and such. Between its 5 parts for Mirror Wars 1, there is a lot of... I don't know how to really explain it. It's like story building of what you would exactly see if you were playing someone from the Mirror Universe. From all the NPCs, all the other characters that you encounter, you really see the focus of what you would feel like if you were one of those bad guys. Well, not bad guys. Yeah, bad guys. Whatever you want to call them. They are bad guys.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Those one
They
dudes?
are bad guys. Those one dudes. We'll call them that.
The
Those
other
one dudes.
universe.
Yeah, with how they will behave, like back when we first saw them in Mirror, that ruthless feeling to them and all that. You get to really experience that kind of firsthand through these missions. What I'm getting at with this is that for RP, if you play through the missions and really delve deep into almost every word, every nuance of it, even watching some of the NPCs laid around some of the ground maps, you really experience how the Mirror Universe really behaves in dealing with the Prime Universe. I'm not going to, give the whole synopsis of what happens when you're playing each of the 5 parts, because I want you to experience that for yourself and get your own feedback on it. Because I really enjoyed it when I first played through, and it's been really updated since the more recent Mirror Universe stuff has come around. And it's just really, they're really good, ball in the park kind of thing. You can search for Mirror Wars 1, literally spelled Mirror Wars with the number 1, in the Browse All section of the Foundry tab. I will mention that there is a sequel to this, Mirrors Wars 2, obviously, which is slightly different, and I won't really be explaining that this episode. Maybe another time. But keep that in thought when you're playing the first one. There's something more after this. What do you guys think?
Sounds like an interesting Foundry mission.
Definitely an interesting take on things.
Yes. Also, you also have the getting character, I would have to say, when you're playing these, because, if you don't look the part, you're not playing the captain. So you definitely gotta look a little bit like a mirror evil yourself, just the Just to make it look good, I guess, right?
I can see that. But yeah,
There you go.
definitely check that out. We'll be sure to have that in the notes for you guys in case you want to check it out. But normally this is where we would end our show for the evening, but we actually have a little something special from Boss Man this evening. What have you got for us, dude?
I don't know if you can hear that,
Only slightly.
but slightly. Anyways, what I have here, some of you may have been watching a Twitter account and how we mentioned about a certain giveaway that we're giving away. I have received some entries for this giveaway, and the giveaway is going to be the Galaxy Pack ship that was given out during Las Vegas convention, and a Jody LaForge that we have left over. So what I want to do here is I want to draw, basically so I can reuse these ones here later on, because I'm greedy that way and I want to keep them around. I've just written down 1 to 10 on the back, and I have to look up which one is which inside of things here. But without further ado, pull out one. Well, that's easy to figure out. The winner of this giveaway at Garrick S31.
Hey, Garrick won.
Hey. So
Totally not rigged, people, I swear to God.
Totally not rigged. That was, I mean, I shook it up, and I made, I mean, the number 2 would have been one of the first ones put into the thing, so, you know. But I've been shaking it for like the last half hour or so.
Yes. I could hear it over the, yeah.
Just
So
a little bit.
you heard it, folks, just a little bit, yeah, not
So-
intrusive, but yeah.
So Garrick, in order for you to get it, you need to get a hold of me. And I will give you the codes via Messenger somewhere, so that they don't get taken and swiped by Twitter.
Yes.
So.
I will definitely let him know, because he logs into my server as well. So.
Alright. That works out. So
Congratulations, Garrick. And you'll be getting that nice surprise if you're not watching.
yeah, if you're not watching, you'll be getting a nice little surprise. And fellas, there was some people that actually put in saying, "Hey, I just want it for the little Forge code." It's like, really? We got other giveaways that wouldn't do with stuff like that. So, anyways, that is what I have. That's what I'm here for. That's what I was doing, and we had all the sorts of fun coming. More stuff to give away.
And do remember, folks, you
Yes.
can't win if you don't enter.
Yeah, so if you complain about not getting anything, well, there's only 10 entries that was put in.
Yep. But, yeah,
So,
definitely keep an eye out for more giveaways in the future. We'll be sure to announce them on Twitter, probably even over the episode as well, for that given week. But, I doth believe that is our show for this evening. But,
yep, I got nothing else.
Yep, that concludes our show for this evening, folks. Hope y'all have found everything informative. This is wasn't really a lot to the articles and everything this week, but I suspect we'll see some more stuff as we get closer to Season 14, coming this Tuesday and everything.
Tuesday.
Yep. But anyways, a good shout out to our friends over at the Temporal Armada. Have been kind enough to sponsor us and everything. Good group of people. Definitely be sure to check them and their radio program out. They're a pretty good bunch of people. Also a shout out to our good friends over at Kurtang Pirate Radio, who are probably maybe potentially broadcasting little bits and pieces of this. and everything. Very chill bunch of people. If you want good quality radio programming, definitely be sure to check them out and everything. But if you have any budget builds you'd like to see us do and everything, feel free to drop us a note and everything. Let us know what faction it is, what ship you've got, what kind of a budget you want us to do. Maybe you want just a basic bare bones, maybe you want something more mid-range, or maybe you want something geared more towards the high end. And let us know what you want to do with it. Maybe you want to be a tank, maybe you want to just melt things with beams, or maybe you want to do some space wizardry. Whatever it is, we'll be sure to help you out with that. If you would like help with your piloting, you feel that your build is in its good place, but you're not entirely sure that you're flying your ship as good as you could, feel free to let us know. Shoot us a little video clip or something over of your piloting, and we'll help you get to where you're wanting to go. But it's pretty much all for our show this week, folks. Thanks for tuning in and everything. Without you guys out there, we would not have a show. But for now, folks, this is the Pilot Review Show, and we're warping out of here.
Have fun.
See.
Bye!
See ya!